What do you do when you've tried everything to save a relationship, but deep down, you already know it isn't going to change? The day comes when you realize that the only thing left to change is you. And then, once you do, you find out how deep the lies and betrayal really went. Welcome to the WTF podcast, friends. My name is Molly Smith, and I'm on a mission to equip a million people with the tools to recognize when they're in the funk, but more importantly, how to pivot out of it. By tuning in today, you've joined us on this mission, and I am so glad that you are here. My guest today truly believed that she was building the life she'd always dreamed of, a marriage and a family and a future she was fully committed to. But underneath it all, a slow, creeping realization set in. No matter how hard she tried, Mae couldn't fix the relationship by sacrificing more of herself. Eventually, she hit a breaking point. Continue accepting the behavior that was slowly eroding her self-esteem, or choose herself for the first time in a very long time. She chose the latter. And what she's built on the other side of that decision is already lighting a fire. She's coaching high-performing men who are winning at work but losing at home. Her upcoming book, The Pattern Break, helps them stop running on that outdated emotional software and decide one thing. Is this marriage a liability? Or is it the greatest competitive advantage they've ever had? Please join me in welcoming Mae Novak to the WTF podcast. Hello, my friend.
Hi, I'm so excited because we've been trying to do this for like 5 months.
I know.
I know. And the universe kept being like, hold on, not yet.
Yeah.
Hold on, not yet. Hold on. But here we are. So I'm super
And we
excited.
are. And I absolutely believe we're supposed to be recording this at the time that we are recording it because of how your story has unfolded. And we're going to get into it here. Give us a little bit of background. Take us back to the very beginning. How did you meet your now ex-husband?
Yes. So I was working at Mercedes-Benz, going through college, finishing up courses. College took me forever because I changed majors like 5 times because I had no idea. Turns out I'm an entrepreneur, which is why a lot of entrepreneurs struggle in college because you're like, should I do this? Should I do that? So anyway, I was working at Mercedes-Benz, finishing up my college degree. And, I was like one of the only women. There was maybe 2 or 3 of us that worked at Mercedes. We used to get hit on all the time. But I think each guy that hit on us thought that they were unique and special, like they were the only one. You know, you know how that
Sure.
goes. They're the only one. So I just used to be like, thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. But a few of them would be really persistent. And so my now ex-husband asked me out for 3 years straight. And once a year for 3 years. And I said no every time. I would be like, no, I've got a boyfriend. No, I don't drink. And he was like, well, how about a Sprite? And I was like, I don't drink Sprite either. Like, I just was like saying no every which way I could,
Yeah.
which, you got to hand it to him. Persistence and
Yeah.
consistency can get you where
Make
you
a
think you
difference.
want to go, make
Yeah.
a difference. So eventually I said yes. And he was a lot older than me. I was like 27, 28 at the time, and he was in his 50s.
Okay.
But I was just like, you know what? We'll just give it a whirl. I'm hungry. Steak sounds good on Friday night. Let's go out.
Girls got to eat.
I know. And I had this like little 1993 like rusted out Honda Accord with an extra set of brakes in the trunk. And I pulled up to his house. I was trying to get through college. So I
Yeah.
pulled up to his house, and from the time we met and halfway to dinner, I thought to myself, this guy is cooler than I thought he was. We were cracking jokes. We had the same music taste. He made me laugh. And I still believe this, that you want to be with somebody who makes you laugh.
Oh,
Whether
yeah.
it's a significant other or a friend, like that's just a requirement. And we laughed a lot. He was very charismatic, and I thought he was going to be super dorky. And now I know that he was super dorky, but there was a long period of time where I got tricked into thinking he was actually like a cool, funny, good guy.
Okay.
But I fell in love. My 43-year-old self looks back and says, oh, honey, you are being love bombed, and you were being
Ah.
treated in a way that no guy your age had ever treated you before. And
Right.
so to me, and I'm going to have to pull the Disney Princess Beef card, specifically Beauty and the Beast,
Sure.
because it turns out my marriage was just one long form 11 to 12-year version of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
When you are with this person and people look at you like, why are y'all together? You're so clearly not a match. But when the woman feels like, if I can love this person enough and show them enough empathy, compassion, forgiveness, love, care, intimacy, if I can show them enough, then I can finally heal him from this horrible, difficult life he has had. And my subconscious said, and then that will make me worthy. So you don't meet your soulmate at that age, you meet your wound mate. And I
mm,
definitely met my wound mate. But I thought it was love, and I would say that I definitely loved him
yeah,
to the degree to which I knew what love was at that point.
yeah,
But we ended up dating for about a year and a half and got married and had a beautiful wedding and went on to a honeymoon in Spain and started off on what I thought was a really good foot. I mean, we had the age gap, but aside from that, I
yeah.
thought, okay, we're
Okay.
gonna make it. This is
We're
gonna be
gonna do
great.
it.
I'm gonna be there till the end. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, when you imagined the rest of your life with him, what did that look like for you?
Isn't that interesting? Like with a 28-year age gap, you would think that I would have really been like, let me get on my calculator and do my math. I thought that I would be, I mean, this sounds crazy, but I just loved him so much. I thought, well, I'm going to be pushing you in a wheelchair one day and you're going to be at home and I'll take care of you. But up until then, we're just going to have the most amount of fun ever and go to 5-star resorts and just
Yeah.
have a blast. But the part about the age, you don't ever really think about that until way later. When you're dazzled with,
Blinded by
well,
love.
when you're blinded by love, you don't really think about that. You're just like, "Okay,
Yeah.
it'll work out."
Yeah.
But turns out, and we will get to this, it wasn't the age that broke us apart, wasn't even that much of a factor, but at the time, yeah, it was unusual, but not enough for me to not go through with it.
Yeah. Okay. When you look back now, when did things start to feel a little bit different?
Well, he always had this cyclical anger pattern.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
Tell me about that.
it was like a blow up. It was kind of like a teapot that started to steam, like started to scream a little bit and louder, and then the steam would come out. It was like that. And it was probably every 8 to 12 weeks. And there would be a blow up. And it would be over something ridiculous, like
Oh,
the tone of my voice, or somebody in line at Costco, or an order got wrong. I mean, it could have been anything, right?
yeah.
Now we all know that it's not the thing, it's what's under here.
Yeah.
And so he would have these blow ups. And I thought to myself, good gracious, he must have just had a really tough past 10 to 15 years. This is going to get smoothed out because I had never experienced in my life someone who was that out of control with their emotions. So I didn't see it as a red flag. I saw it as a almost like a problem I could solve with love. Again,
Mm.
Disney princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was the anger, those outbursts, were they directed at you or were they
Oh
just
yeah.
directed at just life or circumstances?
They were directed at me. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Lots of finger in my face, lots of, it's your problem, it's your fault, you're crying. If you had said this differently or if your tone of voice had been different, it was a lot of, and then every now and then it would slip out, you're only after me for my money and things like that, where I just was like, what are we talking about here? Like, let me calm you down. Let me
Yeah.
lower my tone of voice, fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. So I did a lot of
Yes.
fawning and freezing.
Oh yeah.
A
I
lot
believe
of
it.
that. A
Yeah.
lot of that. So this happened pretty regularly, but I thought it would go away. And then
Yes.
we had a child 2 years in, 13, yeah, 2 years in. So
Yeah.
then once you have a child with someone, you're like, you're in it.
Oh yeah. For
You're
sure.
in it. So I just was like, we're just going to hope and pray that this goes away.
Okay.
Hoping and praying. But
Hoping
it
and
turns
praying.
out thoughts and prayers don't really do a whole lot.
No kidding.
No,
Okay,
thoughts and
well,
prayers.
what did you find yourself doing to keep things from falling apart? Especially as you got into, like, as this was happening every 8 to 12 weeks, so the pattern was emerging, so how did you try to navigate that?
So I would spend a lot of time thinking about, okay, how do I say this in a way that doesn't set him off? Or a lot of times I wouldn't even know what I was going to say would set him off. I remember one Mother's Day, I asked him what our plans were for dinner, and he didn't already have plans for dinner. And so he blew up thinking I was tricking him or making fun of him and insinuating that he didn't have dinner plans and the shame and all of this. And I was like, no, I just asked what we were doing for dinner. So it got to the point where I really had to spend an exorbitant amount of time thinking about what to say, how to say things, how to lower my tone of voice and to
Yeah.
make myself small. And then I would cry, of course, just naturally because it was scary. And the crying actually made it worse. Turns out narcissists don't like it when you cry. It makes them madder. And
Really?
yeah, I didn't know. Like you think, because normally, if I were to say something that made you cry, I'd be like, "Oh my god,
I'm
I'm
so
so
sorry.
sorry. What did I
Yeah.
say? Please help me understand." With a narcissist, they make you cry or you cry because of something that has happened,
Yeah.
and then it triggers their shame in them and it makes it worse.
Worse.
And then they're
Oh,
like, "You're making everything worse by crying." I mean, the amount of times I've been in a puddle of my own tears on the floor with him over me, telling me how it's all my fault. That's not normal. But I got to the point in my relationship where I just kept trying harder because I wanted to build a family and
yeah.
have a family.
What were you telling yourself to keep going?
He'll get well, because he constantly said, "That's the last time. You don't have to worry about me anymore. I'm never gonna do that again." So some people I've heard there is no apology or there's no acknowledgement of the behavior. There was always a huge grandiose apology that often
Oh,
included flowers. There was lots of taking accountability for his actions in the days or week afterwards. Lots of let's sit and talk for hours and dissect uh, my
oh,
childhood and how I could have done that and how I could have said that. So and it was so convincing to me
yeah.
that I was like, "This is the last time. This has gotta be. We're married, we've got a family. We do not have a prenup," which he never mentioned one and I never asked for one. I was 28. I just thought to myself, "There's no way you're gonna allow this to get way far out of control because you've got too much to lose. You
Yeah.
can't be that dumb to not get this problem solved."
Yeah.
Uh, but every time it was just promises and promises that got broken.
The typical woman, the average woman listening to this with that kind of reconciliation, and let's sit down and piece it apart, that would have sucked me in.
"Oh my god, let's sit down and piece it apart. Let me buy you flowers. Let's go on a vacation. You wanna go to Hawaii? How about Iceland? Would you like to go to, you know, Virgin Islands?" Like, it was that level of grandiose. I mean, every year and a half, I got a brand new car. I didn't care if I got a brand new car every year and a half, but it was always a brand new Mercedes with a big red bow on it, or a new Lexus, or a new Porsche, or this or that. Which, again, I'm not going to say no. It's not like if you
Yeah.
say that on a surface level, "Oh, my husband's abusing me. I keep getting new fancy cars all the time." It sounds ridiculous. But then when you, I mean, cry me a river. But then when you realize that those fancy, grandiose gifts are a distraction for what's
Yes.
actually going on, then
Underneath.
it's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's manipulation.
How many years did this cycle of this 8 to 12 week blow ups and then reconciliations and, gift giving and trip giving and all, like, how long did that go on for?
The entire time. The entire time. There was a period there may have been 2 there may have been okay, so during my pregnancy, he laid off. I don't know if that was intentional or if it was just a good time, but during my pregnancy, I don't remember, maybe once or twice. And then when I had a newborn, he laid off. Okay. But most of the time, the only time he went a 6-month period without a blow up was when towards the end of our marriage, when I think he knew that the ice was so thin that
Mm.
there yeah, thin ice.
Okay. Oh my God, this is so fascinating. All right. What was there a part of you that sensed how it might end before you even let yourself say it out loud?
Not really. I really, truly I called it the D word, the divorce word. I never said divorce. I never said, "If you keep acting like this, we're gonna get a divorce." Now, I would say, "I'm not gonna live like this forever. I'm not going to wake up one day and just say, 'You know what? He talks crap to me every now and then, but I've got nice things, so I'll be fine.' That day is not coming." So I said that often, but I never used the D word because I'm the kind of person that when I say something, I do it, and I don't use the word divorce lightly. Like, if you hear me say the word divorce, it's because you just got served. That
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't play.
right.
He used to threaten divorce all the time. "Why don't you go find someone else? Nothing I do is ever good enough for you." What Yeah, just constantly. "Why don't you go find somebody else to be with if I can't make you happy?" Regularly.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
used to always say, "Because you're my husband, I don't want to go find someone else. We have a beautiful little girl upstairs. Like,
Yeah.
let's not throw this away over anger."
Yeah.
But it was constantly, I mean, he used to take his ring off and put it on my nightstand all the time. And I was just like, but it got
That's
to the
passive.
point where I was
That's
like,
passive aggressive. That's so
oh,
passive
Lord.
aggressive.
Yeah, it's coercive control, coercive control. But I got to the point where it was so much, look, I got married when I was 30. We started dating when I was 28. We got married when I was 30. By the time I'm 38, 39, you start going, and I think it's because our hormones change and we stop giving less of a shit, way less of a shit.
100%.
And then you look back and you see all the patterns and you go, he's going to put his ring on this nightstand, say something shitty, walk towards the door, turn around right before he walks through that door, say something else shitty, and walk off. Because I've seen it 30,000 times.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where I was just like, see you later. See you in 15 minutes when you come back. It just became not that important to me,
Yeah.
but it was consistently the entire marriage.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Take me to the moment when everything came to a head, where you made a decision.
Well, actually, it wasn't really a decision made, although felt it was like God was just like, okay, you're out of here. Okay. So this is a funny story. We had 4 dogs, two 2-year-old Aussie doodles that I had trained for 2 years, peeing and pooping and cleaning it all up and training to be outside, training to sit, training not to chew, cleaning the grout where the dirt had been brought in. I had done
Yeah.
99% of taking care of those dogs for 2 years, plus homeschooling a child, plus working myself. Uh, I was a fit model for Wrangler. I still am, but I was also working at Cone Health for a while. So I was working, I was taking care of the kids, I was homeschooling, I was taking care of the dogs, I was managing his emotional outbursts. I just was at my wit's end. So we had 2 puppies and then 2 much older huskies who were so sweet and adorable, but they were old and they ended up passing naturally, both within about 5 or 4 or 5 months of each other. And so after the huskies passed, my husband came to me and said, "I want another husky." And I was like, "I can't deal with a puppy right now. The sleepless nights and the cleanups and he was at work all day, every day. I
Yeah.
was at home. I mean, I was working, but I was working from home on my computer a lot. I was like, I can't do it. We're trying to get our marriage back on track. I can't handle it. It wasn't even like a no, I don't want you to be happy. It was I, as a human being, cannot handle one more thing on my plate.
Yeah.
So then he mentioned it again about a month later, and I was just like, maybe next year. I'm not saying no, I want you to be happy. Maybe next year, but I can't do anything else. We need to stabilize our marriage, and we'll see next year. So this is the night before I go out of town on one of these conferences. It was a real estate investing conferences where you're just, it's speakers and workshops and like all day, every day for
Yeah.
3 days straight.
Yeah.
And so it was the night before I was getting ready to leave on an 8 o'clock flight to go to one of these conferences, which, by the way, side note, the whole real reason I was getting into real estate investing and had started a company and set up my entities was so he could retire early. I wasn't just like this wildly ambitious person who was like, I'm just going to start a real estate company and in my early 40s. I did it because I wanted him to not have to carry the weight of the household financially alone so he could retire early. So anyway, it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I say, I am so tired. I don't even know what to do with myself. I still have to pack. I'm just exhausted. And he says, oh, okay. Well, come sit down and I've got something to tell you. And I was like, okay, great. What is this? And he sat me down and he said, our daughter and I are going to take a little road trip on Friday. And I was like, great.
Awesome.
Are you going to Carowinds? Are you going to the science center? Are you going to the mountain beach? Like, what fun thing are you going to do with her? What have you planned? This is amazing. And then he kind of got quiet and I went, oh my God, is there going to be another living animal in this house when I get back on Monday? And he was like, yeah. And I thought to myself, it's not about the puppy. Okay. Puppies are adorable. Husky
Of
puppies
course.
are adorable. It's not about the puppy.
Of
It's
course.
about the fact that for the 30,000th time, my needs, it wasn't even a want. I didn't want to have less on my plate. I needed to have less on my plate and for
Sure.
my nervous system calm for a while.
Yeah.
So it's like the 30,000th time that my needs had just been completely ignored and disregarded.
Yeah.
So we get into it a little bit, but it's tired. I go on my trip. I come back and I'm at home working on my computer. He's at work. Our daughter's at camp, and I cannot get anything done because there is a equivalent of a puppy flying squirrel just all over the kitchen, just climbing over things and making noises, and I can't get anything done. So I call him and I say, hey, I'm not trying to start a fight, but I need you to know the gravity of the situation because I'm going to have to leave our nice big old house to go to Starbucks to get any work done because now the environment of our house has changed so dramatically
Yeah.
because of what you decided to do without my input or consent. So we kind of get into it a little bit. And I said, listen, and this was really the crux of it. I said, I need you to listen to me. I need to be able to say what I need to say. And then we can get off the phone and we can work this out later. But I need you to let me gripe about this. And then you listen and we get off the phone. That's what needs to happen. And he started yelling at me again, yelling at me. And I said, I need you to listen to me. And he yelled, I can't, and then hung up on me. And when I heard the words, I can't, I heard the thesis of our marriage, which is he cannot emotionally give me what I need. He cannot spiritually give me what I need. He can't. He
Mm.
truly cannot be the man that is consistent, reliable, trustworthy, and can put other people ahead of himself. He
Yeah.
can't. And when I heard the words, I can't, that switch right here in my heart went boop. And I called my mom and I said, I can't do this anymore. Now, later, I found out that he had told my daughter 3 months before, we're getting a puppy, don't tell mom. So my 7-year-old had to keep a secret from me for 2 months. Then he had planned to put her on an airplane the next day, bought her a ticket. I had no idea she was getting put on an airplane to Chicago to bring this puppy back. So it was a combination of a new puppy, me saying I can't handle one other thing, having my daughter lie to me, and then buying her a plane ticket and putting her on an airplane without the mother knowing.
Yeah.
How do you come back from that?
No.
So I left that day thinking we got divorced because he was just being emotionally disrespectful and angry.
Yeah. So that switch flipped after that conversation. You called your mom and said, I can't do it anymore. What did the following days and weeks look like after that?
So I left. I gathered everything I had that was of value, documents, passports, titles to cars, all of my expensive things of value I took with me and I left. I did
Like,
not have a
you bring your
plan.
daughter you take your daughter with you,
Well,
yes?
she was at camp, so I went and
Okay,
picked her up later that day.
okay.
I didn't have a plan, but I just knew that, like, my spirit couldn't take it. So, picked up my daughter, and we went to Aunt Caitlin's house for 3 nights. It's my sister. She lives in town. We spent the night there. Then I was like, "What about the mountains?" So we went to the mountains for a few days. We rented Airbnbs on horse farms. So it was about 3 weeks of just floating around, having fun. And then I finally had to tell Reynolds that we got separated and that I couldn't be talked to like that and I couldn't be treated like that and I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah,
And she had seen enough to know that
yeah,
this was not news to her.
yeah.
Yeah.
How did your husband at the time, was he reaching out to you? Was he calling you? Was he asking you where you were? Like, had you left a note? Did he know that I guess he probably maybe figured out that you packed up your stuff and
Well, when he
you were
came
out?
home and the wall of Christian Louboutins and Louis Vuittons and Chanel purses were gone, he was
He
probably
knew.
like, "Oh, she's serious."
Yeah,
She's serious. She didn't take her, Lululemon. She took her Gucci. Like, she's
yeah,
not coming back. Which
yeah,
obviously, like, if you're gonna leave, you're gonna take all your things of value. I mean, I took my jewelry, I took my nice things, like
yeah,
everything
yeah,
else could stay. But I think he knew we had talked some, but I just told him, like, I'm not coming back. At that time, I actually, now looking back, if he had gotten it together and been kinda quiet and just worked on himself for a couple months, honestly, I probably would have come back because I didn't wanna get divorced.
yeah,
Who at 40
yeah,
years old wants to pack up their kid? I'd been a mostly stay-at-home mom for 10 years
yeah,
8 years at that point.
yeah,
It's physically painful to
yeah.
start over like that. I didn't wanna get a divorce, but it was so erratic. Remember I told you that 8 to 12-week blow up? Well, that became multiple times a week. Like
Oh,
Tuesday,
yeah.
he would be really nice and everything would be fine. Wednesday, I was a gold digger, gold digging slut whore who never deserved anything. And then Thursday would come and it would be the apology. And then Friday would, it was like
Ugh.
insane, insane.
How did you start to protect your energy during that time?
Oh, wow. I actually didn't. I didn't know how to. I didn't. Now
Mm,
I do, and I've got some really great tips on, just
yeah,
completely limiting access. But at the
yeah,
time, I mean, I was cried every day for a long time. I mean, I went through several phases. I went through the month where I drank a glass of wine every day at 2 o'clock, sitting on the back stairs crying. And then I was like, well, I'm not gonna pick up drinking every day now. I would just go through just sleeping a lot. I slept a lot.
yeah,
I got sick often because I just was so upset.
yeah.
I do have an extremely good support system, friends and family, so that helped me protect my energy, and I had a great lawyer. He really helped me protect my energy.
Okay.
I had a great, great lawyer.
How long after you left did you engage a lawyer?
Actually, I had engaged a lawyer about 10 months before I left.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So the year before, so women don't just leave. There's always about a 2 to 4 year period where they're in the back of their head, they're going, "Oh my god, this might be an option. This is not changing, and I have exhausted every single thing I can do,
yeah,
and this is still happening." So, there was a big blow up, and it was a bad one. I mean, it was just a disgusting, horrible bad one, and I went and retained a lawyer. But when you retain a lawyer, you don't have to move forward, and if he's an honest, good lawyer, you can get your retainer back. So, I retained a lawyer. And every month I would say, I don't want to do anything. I want to wait because I really didn't want to get divorced. I
yeah,
really wanted my ex to be my hero. That's the
yeah,
thing men don't understand. Women want you to be our freaking hero.
sure.
Get it together, please.
Yeah.
So I waited, and then December came, waited. The spring came, and things were actually going really well. I called it a miracle. I called my friends and said, "It is a miracle. He has not had a blow up on me in like 5 months. This is just a miracle." And it was on my to-do list to call and get my retainer back because I thought we were in the clear and I was so happy about it.
Yeah.
And then I did, you know, I didn't have one more yell at me in me. I didn't have one
Yeah.
more. And when I got yelled at again, I said, well, my future me must have known that I needed that retainer
Yeah.
because as soon as I left and as soon as I realized he was not going to modify his behavior, it was like go time.
It's done. Okay. All right. So the process of getting divorced, how was that for you?
Horrific, horrific, truly horrific. Now, like I said, I've got a great lawyer.
Yeah.
But in North Carolina, you have to be separated for one entire calendar year in order to even file for divorce. So it was
Yeah.
a long, excruciating waiting process to where there was nothing but just post separation abuse. Nothing but post separation abuse. It was blow ups and lying and coercive control and threats and showing up at my house and just being a crazy person. And I had to just wait for a whole year to file. But I'll tell you, when that day came, oh, I filed on that day.
I believe it,
It
girl.
was a countdown. I actually so I left July 18th, 2024. Every 18th of each month, I threw myself a little party. Well, it was a mental party, or I'd call somebody and be like, one less month because it was so bad. Like if
Yeah.
he went to anger management several times, but then he would come back and the next day just rip me to shreds and call me all
Yeah.
sorts of horrible derogatory names. And I was like, well, that should have saved that 8 grand on that
Yeah.
retreat that didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you finally get divorced, right? After the
Yes.
divorce is done, you're rebuilding your life. What are you doing? Because I think there are a lot of women out there who might be in emotionally or physically abusive relationships, and they've got to figure out like how they're going to support themselves, right?
Yeah.
And give
Well,
them a way to get out.
yeah. Yeah. So luckily, and this is the advice I'll give to women. I don't care if you are the most happily married person in the world or not, have your own source of income. If it had not been that I had already had my own good source of income through my job, I don't know if I could have done it or it would have taken a lot longer or it would have been way worse, or maybe I wouldn't have been able to afford such a good lawyer. Have a stream of income, not just for safety, but because it feels good to make money and it feels good to buy your own stuff and it feels good to pay your own credit card. I mean, it's fun. So have your own source of income, no matter what it is, or own property. Buy some real estate investment properties under your name. So little by little, you get rental income. So always have something like that. But yeah, it was, when you think like, okay, you get divorced and then that's over. No, 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 no. When you are with a controlling person who realizes that when you see them for who they are, they just want to attack you. They're nice to the people who will enable them and give them a pass and forgive them for past transgressions. They'll be nice to you. But when you're the one that's like, you messed with the wrong one, they just wanna attack you all day long to anyone who will listen. And unfortunately for him, I'm the kinda chick I was raised by my mama to not put up with any bullshit from anybody. And so,
Good.
like, I'm not the one that's gonna sit back and cry in my cereal.
Yeah.
No,
Good for you.
thank you.
Okay, so divorce is done. You've got your business. You're creating a new life on your own terms, but more comes out about your
Word comes
relationship.
out. So, this
Tell
is
us.
one of the most incredible things that has ever happened in my entire life. The amount of gratitude that I feel for what I'm about to tell you is level 10, and it couldn't have gone better. But I will say it was quite a curveball. My ex and I had a conversation where he was blowing his lid, just going full blown Wicked Witch of the West nuclear meltdown, just verbal diarrhea. And he said, I messed around on you our entire 13 years we were together. And I thought to myself, no, you didn't. Like, with who? With
Right.
who? Because number one, if you cheat on me, you're an idiot. If you
Mm.
cheat on your wife, who's 28 years younger than you with no prenup, you're an idiot.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're
for
going to
sure.
cheat on your family, and he's had a history of this, so if you're going to do this again, you're an idiot. And here's the reason why I didn't think he was betraying me the whole time. I couldn't comprehend in my brain that he would be that stupid. There's just no way you can be that stupid.
Yeah.
Turns out the bigger the lie sometimes, the easier it is to get away with. So he told me, I've been cheating on you the whole time. And I was just like, no, you didn't. But it clicked something in me. And I was like,
Huh.
maybe you were. Maybe you were. So, as God would have it, it was revealed to me in several different ways that, yes, in fact, there was betrayal the entire marriage. The entire marriage. So while
Oh
I
my
was being
gosh.
yelled at, screamed at, told that it was all my fault, trying my best, reading all of the self-help books and the anger management books and trying everything I could possibly do to
Yeah.
build a relationship and help this man heal. When now I'm like, you were probably yelling at me to detract from the fact that you had either just cheated on me or were getting ready to cheat on me.
Yeah.
So it completely changed the entire thing. And now that I know the truth, now some people said, oh, well, that's too bad you didn't know before you got divorced. No, I'm good. It was a gift. The amount of stress that I would have felt if I'd have found out if we were married, having a
Yeah.
small child at home, oh my God,
Yeah.
devastated. The
Yes.
amount of stress I would have felt during the divorce,
Yeah.
devastated, and so much more money trying to, prove this and prove that and all. The fact
Yeah.
that I so 100% got the truth after was such a gift because I'm
Mhm.
not devastated. I'm not
Right.
embarrassed. I don't feel like a fool.
Yeah.
I just look back at that like a plane crash that I wasn't even on, that didn't even affect me, and go, I'm so glad I'm done with that.
I'm out. Yeah.
I am so glad I'm done with that. Now, the one
Yeah.
thing that I will say is that if you are being cheated on or you are cheating and you are sleeping with other people and not being safe, and then coming home and sleeping with your spouse and
Oh my
not
gosh.
telling them, that's physical abuse. It's physical abuse. You are concerned about somebody spending too much of your money, but you're not concerned about AIDS.
Yeah.
Really? Like, you're not
Yeah.
concerned about getting some STD, but you're concerned about you're a gold digger. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And one of the things he used to say to me, and I thought it was so weird, but he used to say, I am so proud of myself that I never cheated on you. I've cheated on every other person I've been with, but I've never cheated on you. And I'm really proud of myself. And I used to say, you don't get a gold star for
Yeah.
not being an asshole.
Take the gold
Like,
star off your shirt. You do not deserve it.
I couldn't imagine being like, I really deserve a gold medal because I've never murdered anyone. I'm a good
Right.
person because I've never cheated on my
Right.
family. Like, you don't get a gold star, but I used to just be like, what a weird thing to say. Now I know that was part of the manipulation. He had probably done it like the weekend before when my daughter and I were out doing something cool. And he
Yeah.
just saw that as an opportunity to call some made in China Team U version of me to come over and,
Right.
stroke his little ego. Like, that's
Yeah.
truly pathetic. So I'm glad I found out after because I don't feel embarrassed. I don't feel shame. I don't even feel betrayed, which is weird because I'm behind it.
Yeah.
I just feel grateful.
Okay.
because karma is a beautiful thing. What does Taylor Swift say? Karma is my boyfriend. Karma's
Yes,
my boyfriend,
I
and
love it.
been good.
But since the divorce, you've done a lot of healing work.
Like,
You've done
yeah,
a lot of work on yourself. Which thing that you have you done in your healing process made the biggest difference?
truly, the healing process tenfolded the day I decided to leave, because that was the day I decided to quit abandoning myself. And when you decide to quit abandoning yourself, you shift into an energy where everything around you conspires for your success. So there have been numerous things that have people that have come into my life, opportunities I've gotten in business,
Yes.
wonderful women and men that I have met that have introduced me to other people that I could never have orchestrated on my own. So the healing has been stop abandoning yourself, listen to that voice that says, do that, go there, talk to that person. I don't question now. I don't say, oh, but what if they don't like me? Or, oh, I don't like to talk in front of people. Or, oh, what if they think I'm weird for reaching out? I just give such zero fucks about what anyone thinks of me.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that has been because when you can okay, number 1, getting through COVID, right?
Yeah.
That kinda made or break a lot of people. So getting through that and then divorcing a narcissist who is just, like, on level 10, 20, 30, 40 with the crazy,
Yeah.
now you're gonna scare nothing scares me. So I would truly say, for me, it was keeping my word to myself that I am not somebody to be treated like crap. I'm not someone to be betrayed and belittled, and I'm just not gonna sell out. I'm not going to. So staying true to who I think I am, that has been the biggest healing journey for me.
This life experience is fueling what you are doing now. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so this is really cool. So it made sense to me after all of this. I was like, I'm gonna write a book called Confessions of a Former Trophy Wife, and it's gonna be for women about don't make these same mistakes I did. And my definition of a trophy wife was truly if you are a good hearted woman, you're trustworthy, you're loyal, you're a great mom, you're a good wife, you're trying your best, you're a trophy. Like everybody wants you. That's what I mean by trophy wife. I don't mean like the plastic, superficial, clueless kind of a trophy wife. I
Yeah.
mean, or a trophy husband. Like if you are in integrity and trying your best,
Yeah.
you're the prize. So I was going to write the book called Confessions of a Former Trophy Wife. And then I went on another podcast and it was just a very natural thing. I kind of started coaching men on what women want and what women mean when they say, I don't feel seen and heard. Kind of like I was like a translator. After that, I was posting about the podcast. I got one of my posts went viral, and I've never had a post go viral before. I mean, it just shot up. I think it's like 160,000 views around at this point. But it was the particular portion where I was coaching men on a couple questions to ask to help your woman feel more seen and heard. And so a light bulb went off on my head, and I said, women, there's a lot of women coaches in the women's space, and
Yeah.
God bless them, and they're amazing. There needs to be a woman's coach in the male space. Because if a bunch of men are just coaching men, that is,
There's
it's
a
in a
gap.
silo. There's a
There's a
gap.
gap.
There's a
Yeah,
gap.
for
And
sure.
I like to say that I'm like going to be the Erin Andrews of men's relationship coaching. Because remember when Erin Andrews came on the scene, everyone was like, oh, of course they're hiring this really pretty girl to do sports and like stay in your lane and
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Well, she ended up being like the goat, like she's
Yeah.
an so
Yes.
I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. And it has just skyrocketed. So I've shifted from writing a book for women to now I'm writing a book for men called The Pattern Break. And it is all about identifying the simple patterns that men may be reliving that have been passed down, that may have worked for their grandfathers and their fathers in their marriages, but women have changed. We are not
Yes.
the same. If you are married to a woman these days, she's most likely not going to put up with your bullshit. It's not going to be any longer her doing the lion's share of everything and you paying the house payment and the bills. Not that that's not important. It is, but
Right.
over 70% of women also work. So it's
Yeah.
not
Yes.
It's not the same. So I think men, good men, are really wanting and needing a translator for how to understand what their wives are saying to them and how
Yes.
to connect, and maybe just a few simple things that they can tweak in their vocabulary, in the way
Yeah.
that they show up, that could make a huge difference, because divorce is really a bad business decision. It can be an asset or a liability depending on which end you're on. But if you've spent your life in your career or building a business, whether you're the man or the female, divorce is 50-50. I mean, that's the law.
Yeah.
It's the law. So
Right.
it's worth it to invest in a relationship with the person that you said yes to and that you chose.
That's
So I'm
right.
helping men do that. So I'm writing a book. I'm getting ready to launch a podcast. I'm getting ready to
Yes.
launch a mini quick wins course. But the brand is called The Pattern Break. And I could not be more excited to be
Oh my
helpful in that
gosh.
way.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. For somebody who is feeling stuck in something that they can't fix, what would you want them to know?
That you can fix it. Nothing is unfixable. Everything is figure outable. And that truly you're not going to solve the problem by sitting and thinking about the problem. The problem is going to solve itself when you decide to quit abandoning yourself and staying in integrity with who you know that you are. So
Yeah.
there's no stuck. It's you're on a hamster wheel, but you're working really hard. All
Yeah.
you got to do is just get off the hamster wheel and put that amount of energy in a lateral direction.
Yes. Okay. And for the women who are listening who recognize their own relationship in your marriage with your ex, what's one honest question that they need to ask themselves that they might be avoiding?
Is this the way that I want to be loved for the rest of my life?
Oh, yes. Yes. Oof.
And if the answer to that is yes, congratulations, you win. If the answer to that is no, they are not going to wake up one day and change. Because a lot of times men, and God bless them, I hate this for them, but it's the way
Mm.
that it is. They do not change until there is a consequence that directly negatively impacts them.
Yeah.
When you take away, when the woman leaves and then the man goes, "Oh, no, no, I'll change. I'll go to therapy. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll read the book." This woman is saying, "Oh, wait, you had to damn near break me to get to the point where
Make
you
change.
were willing to read a fucking book?"
Right.
It's
Right.
disrespectful, and she's gone. So
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
wait till it gets to that point.
Yeah.
Read the book, fellas.
Yes. Okay. May, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I absolutely know that this is going to just impact so many women and so many men who want to do better, who want to know this secret and the patterns that they need to break. So I'm so glad that you came on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, and I'm really glad that we got it right this time, but the
Yes,
universe
we
knew
did.
what she was doing, so
Yes, I love it.
it was perfect timing.
All right, friends. If you have listened to this episode and you know somebody who might be positively impacted or need to hear May's story, please consider sharing it. It helps get the word out about these stories and helps me on my mission to helping a million people pivot out of the funk. We'll see you next time.